wife was very, very rich. The other, the older brother's wife, was very poor. Every day, the poor sister in law would go to the rich sister in law's house and grind the floor for her. She would grind the floor and sieve it through a fine cloth. She would take the clothes home, and in the evening, she would shake the cloth out and use the floor cut in it to make her husband some porridge. One day, the sister in law's son saw his aunt preparing the porridge for her husband. The child ran home and told his mom, "Ma, Aunt takes the clothes she used to sieve our floor and make a porridge out of the floor for her husband." The rich wife's sister-in-law was very angry. The next day, she told the poor sister-in-law, "From now on, you will leave behind the clothes you used to sieve my floor and wash your hands before you go. I don't want you to take a grain of my floor home with you again." The poor sister in law did as she was told. That night, when her husband came home, he asked for his porridge as usual, but she had not been able to prepare porridge that day. And she said, "Sister in law did not bring the clothes home today," she explained. Her husband was very angry and stormed out of the house. The poor sister in law shut herself in the room. She was a great devotee, and now in her misery, she cried and wept to God. And at last, sad and exhausted, and she was still crying unto God before she slept. God heard her calling and came to find out what was wrong. "Why are you sleeping?" He asked her. "Every day," she said, "every day I bring back the cloth I used to sweep the floor. I grind for my sister in law and use the floor cut in it to make porridge for my husband every evening. Today, my sister in law did not allow me bring the clothes home, so I could not make porridge. Now my husband is angry with me and he has stormed out of the house. I have just had a large meal," she said, rubbing his stomach and looking preoccupied, "and I urgently need to go." And she said, "Go?" And he said, "Yes." "Ah, I understand now. You need to go. Well, what can I say? Go wherever you wish to. Not that there is a much space," she said. And he looked at her gratefully and deposited a large pile of elephant dung on her floor. She now said, "Now I need something to wipe myself with." The poor sister in law was very angry at Ganesh for the mess he had created. "Wipe yourself with that." "What can I give you to wipe yourself with?" she cried. "Wipe yourself on my head." And Ganesh looked at her word and he wiped his latch behind on her head and he left. And the poor sister in law woke up, and what did she see on the floor? Not a pail of elephant dung, but a heap of glittering diamond and wound about in her hair, even shining and gems. The next morning, she was busy counting the jewels and putting them away that she forgot to go to her sister in law's house to grind the floor. The rich sister in law called her son and said, "Go to your aunt and see why she hasn't come today." And the child went to her aunt's house and saw her counting the glittering jewels. He ran back to his mother. "Ma, aunt has become so rich. She has a pail of jewels in her house." When the rich sister in law heard this, she went running to her sister in law's house. "Where did you get these jewels from?" she asked. The poor sister in law told her the whole story. The rich sister in law went running back home and told her husband what had happened and said, "Tonight, I will give you no dinner and you must get angry with me and storm out of the house," he said. That evening, the husband did as she asked and stormed out of the house. The rich woman emptied her house of everything and calling on the god Genash again and went to sleep. Genash heard her calling and came to find out what the matter was. And as he has done to the poor sister in law, he declared, "I just had a very heavy meal and I need to go." The sister in law was overjoyed. This is what she had been hoping for. Ganesh said, "My sister in law house has a tiny house. Mine is huge and empty. So please go wherever you wish to." Ganesh looked at her word and deposited large piles of elephant dung all over the house. When he was done, he said, "Where should I wipe myself?" he asked. Please wipe yourself on my head," the rich woman said. And Ganesh did as she asked. wiping his behind on her head, and he disappeared. The rich sister-in-law woke up and what did she see on the floor? Not a heap of glittering diamond, but a pail of elephant dung. And as for her hair, don't even bother asking. And she wailed, "Why did you do this to me? You gave my sister in law diamonds and you left me with this." Then Garnish the god appeared and said, "Your sister in law is a good woman. She called me because she was in trouble. You are a greedy woman. You called me because you wanted more wealth than you already have." And he said, "Garnish, I'm sorry. Can you please now remove your blessings from my house? I would never be greedy again." And he said, "First give half of your wealth to your sister in law and make sure you never treat her again. Only then will I clean up your house." The rich sister in law called the poor sister in law, greeting her with great affection, gave her half of her money and jewels. Garnish content vanished as she did as the did the mess.